Oxycodone, 30 milligrams. Do you know what that's typically prescribed for?
Terminally ill cancer patients.
Have a chance to bond out of jail. A Santa Rosa County judge ruling today there are no conditions in which Dr. Elaine Sharp can be released from jail that would guarantee the safety of the community.
And WEAR's Samantha Serban was in the courtroom this morning as prosecutors presented a PowerPoint of evidence in their attempt to keep the 74-year-old behind bars.
Yeah, Elaine Sharp is facing 51 charges, among them 2 counts of murder for the deaths of these 2 people, Shameen Powell and Dean Darnell. Investigators say both overdosed on oxycodone. Both had been prescribed the medications by Dr. Sharp, but according to medical experts, neither actually needed the pills. Shackled at her hands and feet, you're seeing 74-year-old Dr. Elaine Sharp for the first time since the Florida Department of Law Enforcement arrested her earlier this month. Wednesday, we learned more about Sharp's alleged pill mill.
The red flags were reports that were coming in from several different pharmacists from all over the Northwest Florida area complaining about prescribing habits.
Vanessa Carmona is the lead investigator with the Florida Department of Law Enforcement. She says 420,000 oxycodone pills were handed out between Florida and Alabama, all of them prescriptions written by Sharp. Investigators say Sharp wouldn't accept new patients unless they were brought in by someone she already knew, which made getting an undercover agent in difficult. FDLE says it took 3 tries before the agency successfully had their inside man. Testimony reveals that agent paid $200 cash and got 84 hydrocodone pills the same day, despite the fact the so-called patient reported no pain.
There's also the testimony about how basically Dr. Sharp was coaching the undercover officer on how to get these prescriptions, saying that you would have to give at least a pain rating of 6. It's very interesting that you would have a doctor telling a patient what the patient needs to say in order to get narcotic pain medication.
We learned in court Wednesday Sharp operated a cash-only business, and investigators say if patients couldn't cough up the full office fee, she'd dock their fill.
And so as a trade-off, she prescribed fewer pills, again suggesting none of this was medically necessary. This was all about cash.
On top of the frequency of Sharp's prescriptions, Carmona says the strength was also a red flag.
Oxycodone, 30 milligrams. Do you know what that's typically prescribed for?
Terminally ill cancer patients.
The pharmacists in the area who are looking, they don't know these patients. They're simply looking at the people walking in and what they're being prescribed, and they know that this is not right.
Prosecutors say Walmart's corporate office ordered a blanket no-fill policy at one point for Sharp's prescriptions after seeing patients come for a refill under the influence. Confidential informants told FDLE Sharp knew some of her patients were selling their pills. They even reportedly witnessed drug deals in the parking lot of Sharp's Gulf Breeze office. FDLE asked an unrelated doctor to review 21 patient files.
Dr. Hawk's findings were that of the 21 patient files that were sent to him that he reviewed, that none of them met medical necessity for any prescriptions.
The same conclusion drawn by the medical examiner for Dean Darnell and Shameen Powell, who investigators say both overdosed on oxycodone. FDLE reports Darnell filled one of Sharp's prescriptions the day before his death. Santa Rosa County officials found 8 pills missing the next morning. When asked why the murder charges focus on these 2 people, Carmona said many of the other patient deaths had mixed toxicity reports. Darnell and Powell did not.
These were based solely on those oxycodone narcotics, and they did not have any of the other illicit street drugs mixed with it.
And even though Sharp's medical license and her ability to write prescriptions were both revoked, Judge Clifton Drake still wasn't comfortable giving Sharp bond, saying she could, in theory, work with other doctors to write prescriptions for narcotics. So for now, the 74-year-old has no bond. In the newsroom, I'm Samantha Serban.